The final weapon of the Prime Architect turned reality into a nightmare. Space folded in on itself, creating corridors that led nowhere and doorways that opened onto the same room. Time flowed backward in some areas and stopped completely in others. The laws of physics became suggestions that changed from moment to moment. But Admiral Hyunwoo's fleet pushed forward through the chaos. Where advanced alien ships would have been trapped by their own sophisticated systems trying to compensate for impossible conditions, the human vessels simply ignored what their instruments told them and relied on basic navigation. "Sir, we're flying through space that shouldn't exist," reported Navigator So-Jin. Her voice was steady despite the impossibility of their situation. "But the engines are still working and we're still moving toward the target." Science Officer Tae-min had given up trying to make sense of his readings. "Admiral, my instruments are showing that we're in 17 different locations at once, moving at negative velocity through sideways time. But visually, we're still heading straight for the central ship." "Trust your eyes, not the machines," Hyunwoo said. "Humans learned to navigate by stars long before we had computers." Fighter pilot Bo-ram was having the strangest dogfight of her career. The space around her fighter twisted like a pretzel, and sometimes her weapons fired before she pulled the trigger. But her target, a Guardian drone the size of a building, was having even more trouble adapting to the chaos. "Blue Squadron, ignore your instruments," she called to her pilots. "Fly by sight and instinct. These ancient machines can't handle their own weapon." The Guardian drones, designed to operate in perfectly ordered space, were crashing into invisible barriers and getting lost in geometric loops. Their advanced AI systems couldn't process the contradictory data from the twisted reality around them. Meanwhile, the human pilots flew by gut feeling and visual navigation, the same skills their ancestors had used to cross Earth's oceans. Their simple brains evolved to handle the messy real world, adapted to the chaos better than any artificial intelligence. "This is impossible," the Prime Architect's voice echoed through the distorted space. "Your primitive neural networks should not be able to function in altered spacetime. How are you navigating through paradox itself?" Engineer Woo Jin answered from the engine room of the Soul's Pride. "Sir, I think our brains are treating this like a navigation problem instead of a physics problem. We're not trying to understand it. We're just working around it." The human fleet reached the heart of the Guardian's reality weapon. The central ship loomed before them, its impossible geometry shifting with each heartbeat. Weapon ports opened and closed in dimensions that had no names, preparing to fire the final shot that would end the challenge. But Admiral Hyunwoo had one more surprise for the ancient Guardian. "All ships prepare for ramming speed," he announced. "Sir?" Questioned Tactical Officer Jae-sung. "You heard me. These reality weapons are designed to stop advanced attacks. Let's try the most primitive attack of all." The human ships accelerated directly toward the Prime Architect's core. No sophisticated weapons, no complex strategies, just simple ships moving as fast as their engines could push them through twisted spacetime. The Prime Architect tried to stop them with gravitational weapons that could crush planets. But the fields passed harmlessly around the human ship's simple metal hulls. It attempted to phase them out of reality entirely, but their basic matter was too crude to be easily displaced. As the Soul's Pride approached the Guardian's core, space around them began to stabilize. The Prime Architect was using all its power to maintain the reality distortion, leaving no energy for its other defenses. "Ramming speed achieved," So-Jin reported. "Impact in 30 seconds. "Wait," the Prime Architect's voice called out, suddenly urgent. "Analysis complete. Full understanding achieved. Cease attack." The reality distortion collapsed like a popped bubble. Space returned to normal. Stars resumed their proper positions, and the laws of physics reasserted themselves. The Guardian ships around the human fleet powered down their weapons and began withdrawing. "You have passed the test," the Prime Architect announced. "Not through superior technology or advanced tactics, but through the most valuable trait of all, the courage to remain true to your nature despite overwhelming pressure to change." Admiral Hyunwoo ordered his ships to stop just short of the Guardian's core. "What do you mean?" "For millions of years, I have witnessed civilizations reach for transcendence. They abandon their physical forms, discard their simple beginnings, and transform themselves into beings of pure energy or digital consciousness. In doing so, they lose something essential: the ability to approach problems with fresh perspective." The Prime Architect's core began to glow with warm, gentle light instead of the harsh brilliance of its weapons. You humans have achieved spaceflight energy weapons, faster than light travel. Yet you still build ships from metal, still trust your organic brains over computers, still solve problems with direct action rather than complex theory. Is that bad? Asked Taemin. It is precious beyond measure, the entity replied. The archive contains the knowledge of 1,000,000 civilizations, but all of them eventually abandoned the simple wisdom that you still possess. They became so advanced that they could no longer understand basic solutions to complex problems. Captain Dong-hyun appeared on the communications screen. Are you saying we won because we're not advanced enough? You won because you remember how to be both advanced and simple at the same time. This is the rarest trait in the galaxy, the ability to grow without losing your roots. The massive Guardian ships began to transform, their weapon systems retracting and their hulls opening to reveal magnificent cities floating in space. The Warzone was not a battlefield. It was a preserve, a library, a treasure house of knowledge waiting for someone worthy to claim it. The archive is yours now, the Prime Architect said. Not because you defeated my Guardians, but because you proved that knowledge will be safe in your hands. You will learn from it without being consumed by it. Admiral Hyun-woo stood on his bridge looking out at the greatest discovery in human history. The knowledge of 1,000,000 civilizations waited to be explored, but it would be explored by beings who remembered the value of simple metal ships and human courage. Set course for the archive, he ordered, and send a message to Earth. Tell them we found something wonderful and we did it the human way. As the fleet approached the floating cities of ancient knowledge, So-jin smiled at her navigation console. They had come to explore the unknown and found themselves becoming the guardians of wisdom itself. It was, she thought, a very human thing to have happen. The space around the human fleet began to change. What had been empty blackness filled with swirling colors that hurt to look at. The stars themselves seemed to bend and twist, forming impossible patterns that made the human crews dizzy. Admiral, Science Officer Taemin called out, his voice tight with strain. Something massive is powering up inside the Central Guardian ship. The energy readings are beyond anything we've seen. It's like a star being born. Admiral Hyun-woo watched the main screen as the largest alien vessel transformed before their eyes. Sections of its hull opened like flower petals, revealing a core that pulsed with blue-white light. The light grew brighter with each pulse, and with it came a presence that pressed against the human minds like a weight. Sir, I'm getting a clearer communication signal, reported Communications Officer Yoo-jin. Her hands shook as she worked her controls. The computer has managed to establish a translation protocol. Put it through, Hyun-woo ordered. The voice that filled the bridge was different from the automated systems they had heard before. This voice carried intelligence, curiosity, and something that might have been confusion. I am the Prime Architect, the voice said, each word carefully formed. I have analyzed your vessels, your weapons, your methods of warfare. According to all calculations, you should not exist. Captain Dong-hyun's image appeared on a side screen. Admiral, whatever's happening over there, it's affecting space itself. My navigation instruments are showing impossible readings. We might be in serious trouble. The Prime Architect continued speaking. For millennia, I have guarded this realm against those who would claim the knowledge within. Beings of pure energy, digital consciousnesses, species that had transcended physical form, all have fallen before my guardians. Yet you, primitive creatures bound by matter, have succeeded where gods have failed. Taemin looked up from his console. Sir, I think I understand what we're dealing with. This isn't just an AI. It's the guardian of something incredibly valuable, and it's been fighting advanced civilizations for thousands of years. What kind of knowledge could be worth guarding for so long? Asked Navigator So-jin. The answer came from the Prime Architect itself. Within this realm lies the archive, the collected knowledge of 1,000,000 civilizations. Technologies beyond imagination, philosophies that reshape reality, the secrets of existence itself. Only those who prove themselves worthy may access this treasure. The space around them continued to change. Reality itself seemed fluid, with laws of physics becoming suggestions rather than rules. Some of the human fighters reported that their engines were working in reverse, while others found their weapons shooting backwards through time. How are we supposed to fight something that can change the rules of reality? Muttered Tactical Officer Jae-sung. But Engineer Woo-jin's voice came from below decks with an answer. Sir, our simple technology is protecting us again. Whatever this entity is doing to space, it's designed to affect advanced systems. Our basic mechanical components are too crude to be significantly altered. It was true. While space twisted around them, the human ships continued to function. Their simple engines pushed them forward through impossible geometry. Their basic life support systems kept working even when gravity pointed sideways. Fighter pilot Boram found herself flying through space where up and down had no meaning. Her instruments showed readings that made no sense, but her simple chemical thrusters still responded to her commands. "All fighters, stay close to the capital ships," she called to her squadron. "Whatever's happening out here, we can still maneuver." The Prime Architect seemed to notice this resistance to its reality manipulation. "Fascinating. Your primitive construction allows you to function in altered space-time. This was not anticipated in any scenario. Why are you doing this?" Admiral Hyunwoo asked, speaking directly to the entity. "We're not here to steal your knowledge. We're explorers. All who enter this realm seek the archive," the Prime Architect replied. "Some come seeking weapons to conquer galaxies. Others desire technologies to transcend mortality. A few simply wish to possess knowledge for its own sake. All have failed the test." "And what test?" asked Sojin. "The test of worthiness. To access the archive, one must prove they can defeat the Guardians through honest strength, not trickery or advanced technology. You are the first species to succeed, yet you are also the most primitive to attempt the challenge." The twisted space around them began to pulse faster. The Prime Architect was preparing something new, something that even human simplicity might not be able to resist. "I will employ the final measure," the entity announced. "If you can survive what comes next, you will have earned the right to know the truth of this place." The central guardianship began to unfold further, revealing a structure that defied description. It was part machine, part mathematical equation, part living thought. Energy flowed through its components in patterns that suggested intelligence beyond anything the humans could comprehend. "Sir," Taimin called out, "massive power spike. Whatever it's building, it's drawing energy from multiple dimensions. The reading suggests it could rewrite the fundamental forces of physics in this entire region." Captain Minseo's voice came from the Incheon's Hope. "Admiral, my science team thinks we have an advantage. Human brains evolved to handle three-dimensional space and physical matter. This reality distortion might actually be easier for us to navigate than for digital beings." She was right. As space became increasingly distorted, the human crews found they could adapt faster than any computer. Their organic brains, trained by millions of years of evolution to handle the physical world, could process the impossible geometry better than artificial intelligence designed for perfect mathematical environments. "All ships maintain formation," Hyunwoo ordered. "If this entity wants to test us, let's show it what humans can do." The Prime Architect's final weapon activated and reality exploded into chaos. But in that chaos, the human fleet flew on, their primitive ships carrying them through impossible space toward their greatest test yet. The ancient Guardian was about to learn that sometimes the simplest solutions were the most effective, and that raw human determination could overcome even the most sophisticated challenges. "All ships target the nearest Guardian vessel," Admiral Hyunwoo commanded. "Fire when ready." The human fleet turned their weapons on the massive alien ship. Railguns charged, missile tubes loaded, and plasma cannons powered up. These were simple weapons by galactic standards, crude tools compared to the reality-bending technology of the Guardians. The first salvo hit the Guardian's hull like a thunderstorm. Tungsten slugs from the railguns punched through the alien armor as if it were paper. The impact sent shockwaves through the massive vessel, causing its perfect formation to wobble. "Direct hits," reported Tactical Officer Jae-sung. "Sir, their armor is barely stopping our rounds. It's like shooting through butter." Science Officer Taemin studied his readings in disbelief. "Admiral, this doesn't make sense. Their hulls should be nearly indestructible. The energy signatures suggest armor stronger than anything we've ever encountered." "But," Hyunwoo prompted, "but it's designed to stop energy weapons and exotic particle beams. Our simple kinetic projectiles are just punching right through. Their armor might as well be made of glass." Captain Donghyun's voice came through the comm from the Busan's Fury. "Admiral, requesting permission to engage with full weapons. Our missile systems are showing clear targeting solutions." "Granted. All ships weapons free." The human fleet unleashed everything they had. Missiles streaked through space carrying simple explosive warheads. Autocannons fired streams of solid metal bullets. Even the ship's point defense systems joined the attack, sending thousands of small projectiles toward the Guardian vessel. The ancient ship's defenses activated, trying to stop the incoming barrage. Energy fields flared to life, designed to vaporize incoming threats. Particle beams swept space, attempting to detonate the missiles before impact. But the defensive systems had the same problem as the weapons. They were built to stop advanced threats, not primitive ones. The energy fields passed harmlessly over the simple metal missiles. The particle beams, calibrated to disrupt exotic matter warheads, had no effect on basic chemical explosives. The Guardian ship's perfect defenses were useless against humanity's crude weapons. Explosions blossomed across the alien hull like deadly flowers. Each impact tore through armor that had been designed to withstand planet-killing energy blasts. The massive ship shuddered under the assault, its systems failing one by one. Fighter pilot Boram led her squadron against the Guardian drones. Her small craft darted between the massive alien fighters, firing bursts from their autocannons. The bullets were nothing special, simple metal projectiles propelled by chemical explosives. But they tore through the drone armor like it wasn't there. "This is incredible," Boram called to her squadron. "Their point defense can't even see our bullets coming. It's like they're blind to anything that isn't high-tech." Her wingman, Pilot Kajun, destroyed 3 drones with a single missile. The chemical warhead created a simple explosion that the drone's shields couldn't stop. "Blue Leader, I think their technology is so advanced that it can't deal with basic physics anymore." The Guardian ship that the human fleet was attacking began to list to one side. Massive sections of its hull had been blown away, revealing the complex machinery inside. But even as it died, the alien vessel tried to adapt to this unexpected threat. New weapons emerged from hidden ports. Weapons that fired physical projectiles instead of energy beams. The Guardians were trying to fight the humans with their own tactics, but there was a problem. The Guardian projectiles were made of exotic matter, designed to phase through normal defenses and strike at the quantum level. When they hit the human ship's simple steel armor, they passed right through without causing damage. The alien weapons were too advanced to affect something as basic as metal. Engineer Wu Jin watched from the engine room as exotic matter rounds passed through the ship's hull like ghosts. "Admiral, they're shooting at us with ammunition that doesn't interact with normal matter. It's like being attacked by very expensive phantoms." The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The most advanced weapons in the galaxy couldn't hurt ships made of simple metal and plastic. Humanity's refusal to abandon primitive materials had become their greatest strength. "Sir," called Navigator Sojin, "more Guardian ships are approaching. They're changing their formation." On the tactical display, the remaining Guardian vessels were spreading out, trying to surround the human fleet. Their weapons had stopped firing the reality-bending beams, and were now attempting to use gravitational manipulation to crush the human ships. "They're trying to create artificial gravity wells," Taman reported. "If they succeed, they could compress our ships into pinpoints." But once again, human technology proved unexpectedly resilient. The gravity manipulation was designed to affect ships with exotic matter cores and energy-based structural integrity. Human vessels, with their simple fusion reactors and mechanical construction, weren't affected the same way. The Soul's pride shook as gravitational forces pulled at its hull, but the ship held together. Its steel frame and chemical welded joints were too crude to be significantly affected by the precise gravitational manipulation. "Return fire," Hyun Woo ordered. "Target their weapon systems." The human fleet's response was brutal and effective. Railgun slugs tore through the Guardian ship's weapon emplacements. Missiles destroyed sensor arrays that had tracked starships for millennia. The ancient vessels, built to fight gods, were being torn apart by weapons that any galactic civilization would consider obsolete. Captain Min Seo's voice came from the Inchin's Hope. "Admiral, we're detecting massive power fluctuations from the central Guardian ship. I think we've got their attention." Through the chaos of battle, a new signal emerged from the largest Guardian vessel. It wasn't the mindless targeting systems they had been fighting. This was something else, something that had been sleeping and was now beginning to wake up. "Sir," Yujin announced, "I'm receiving a communication attempt. It's not in any language we know, but the computer is trying to translate." "Put it through," Hyunwoo said. The bridge filled with a sound like mathematical music, complex harmonies that spoke of intelligence beyond anything the humans had encountered. When the translator finally managed to process it, the message was simple but chilling. "Impossible," the voice said. This outcome was not calculated. Analysis required. Full awakening authorized. Deep within the largest Guardian ship, something that had slept for thousands of years began to stir. The humans had won the first battle, but they had also awakened something far more dangerous than automated defenses. The first shot came without warning. A beam of purple light, thicker than a city block, lanced out from the nearest Guardian ship. It struck empty space where the Soul's Pride had been moments before. "That missed us by 50 meters, shouted Tactical Officer Jae Sung, sweat beading on his forehead. "Sir, that weapon could have vaporized us completely." Admiral Hyun-woo gripped his command chair as the ship shook from another near miss. "All ships, report status." "Busan's Fury here," Captain Dong-hyun's voice crackled through the comm. "We're intact, but barely. These things are shooting at us with weapons I've never seen before. The energy readings are off the charts." Through the view screen, the human fleet could see more Guardian ships emerging from hiding spots among the asteroids. Each one was enormous, dwarfing the human vessels like whales next to minnows. Their hulls gleamed with an oily black surface that seemed to absorb light itself. Science Officer Taemin worked frantically at his console. "Admiral, I'm analyzing their weapon signatures. These energy beams operate on principles we don't understand. They're not lasers or plasma cannons. They seem to affect reality itself, and what do you mean?" asked Navigator So-jin, dodging debris from another massive blast. "I mean, they don't just destroy matter. They erase it. Where that beam hit the asteroid field, there's nothing left, not even dust. It's like that space never existed." Another Guardian opened fire, this time targeting the destroyer Incheon's Hope. The beam passed so close that the ship's hull glowed red from the heat. Captain Minseo's voice came through the comm system, shaky but determined. "Incheon's Hope reporting. Whatever they're shooting at us, our sensors can't track it properly. It's like the beams exist in multiple dimensions at once." Hyun-woo watched the tactical display. The Guardian ships moved in perfect formation, their targeting systems trying to lock onto the human vessels. But something was wrong. These ancient machines with their godlike weapons couldn't seem to hit their targets. "Jae-sung analysis," Hyun-woo ordered. "Sir, they're definitely aiming at us. Their weapons are charging and firing directly at our positions, but they keep missing by small margins. Either they're the worst shots in the galaxy, or something else is happening." Engineer Woo Jin's voice came from the lower decks. "Admiral, I've been monitoring their targeting scans. They're using sensor systems far more advanced than anything we have. But there's something strange. Their scans seem to be looking for energy signatures we don't produce." "Explain," Hyun-woo said. "Well, sir, most galactic civilizations use energy-based shields and exotic matter reactors. Their sensors are calibrated to track those signatures. But our ships use kinetic barriers and fusion reactors. We're practically invisible to their targeting computers." As if to prove his point, another massive beam fired from a Guardian ship, passing harmlessly through the space, where the Soul's Pride should have been according to alien sensor technology. "It's like they're shooting at ghosts," murmured So-jin. Taemin looked up from his console, excitement lighting his eyes. "Admiral, I think I understand what's happening. These Guardians were built to fight enemies with advanced technology. Energy beings, maybe, or species that had transcended physical matter. Their weapons and sensors are designed for that level of threat." "And we're not that advanced," Hyun-woo said, understanding dawning on his face. "Exactly. We're so primitive compared to what they expect that their systems can't properly target us. It's like trying to shoot a fly with a cannon designed to kill elephants." The Guardian ships seemed to realize their predicament. They began changing tactics, firing broader beams and launching what appeared to be seeking weapons. Swarms of smaller craft poured from hangar bays, each one the size of a human frigate. "Incoming fighters," called Jae-sung, or drones. "They're not showing life signs." The drone swarms moved with impossible precision, their formation too perfect for living pilots. They fired streams of golden energy that twisted through space like living things, seeking the human ships. "Launch all fighters," Hyun-woo ordered. "Let's see how our pilots handle these drones." Fighter pilot Boram led the first squadron out of the hangar bay. Her small craft looked like toys next to the massive Guardian drones, but she felt confident. She had trained for this her entire life. "Blue Squadron, this is Blue Leader," she said into her comm. "Stay in tight formation. These drones are big, but they might be slow." The first engagement proved her wrong. The Guardian drones moved like dancers, spinning and weaving through space with fluid grace. Their weapons fired golden streams that bent around obstacles and sought their targets with intelligence. But something unexpected happened. When the drone weapons hit Boram's fighter, they passed right through without causing damage. The golden energy seemed to interact with her ship's simple metal hull for a moment, then dispersed harmlessly. Blue leader to Soul's Pride, Boram reported. Their weapons aren't affecting us. The energy just passes through our hulls like we're not here. Similar reports came from other pilots. The Guardian drones, confused by their weapons' failure, began trying different approaches. Some attempted ramming attacks, but the human fighters were more maneuverable than the ancient machines expected. Sir? Wu Jin called from engineering. I think their weapons are designed to disrupt exotic matter and energy fields. But our ships are made of simple steel and aluminum alloys. There's nothing exotic for their weapons to disrupt. Hyunwoo smiled grimly. So we're too primitive to die. It appears so, Admiral. Their technology is so advanced that it can't affect something as basic as metal armor and kinetic barriers. The battle continued around them, with Guardian ships firing massive reality-bending weapons that missed their targets, and drone swarms shooting harmless energy streams at human fighters. It was the most one-sided fight in galactic history, but not in the way anyone would have expected. All ships, Hyunwoo announced, prepare for offensive operations. Let's see how their advanced armor handles our primitive weapons. The human fleet had stumbled upon the galaxy's greatest secret. Sometimes being less advanced was the ultimate advantage. Admiral Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the Soul's Pride, watching the stars through the main view screen. His weathered face showed no emotion, but inside excitement burned like a small fire. After 50 years in space, he still felt wonder when looking at the endless black, dotted with distant suns. Admiral, we're approaching the warning buoys, said Chief Navigator So Jin from her station. Her fingers moved across the control panel with practiced ease. The Dominion markers are getting stronger. Hyunwoo nodded. For 300 years, every species in the galaxy had avoided this region of space. They called it the Warzone, though nobody could explain why. Ships that entered never came back. No messages, no distress calls, nothing. They simply vanished without a trace. Sir, the alien ambassador is requesting to speak with you, announced Communications Officer Yu Jin. She looked nervous. The young woman had joined the crew only 6 months ago, fresh from the academy on Earth. Put him through, Hyunwoo said. The main screen flickered, showing the face of Ambassador Veltar. The alien's blue skin had turned pale and his 3 eyes blinked rapidly. His species, the Corvani, were known for being calm and logical. Seeing him worried made the human crew uncomfortable. Admiral, you must turn back, Veltar said. His voice carried a tremor that the translator couldn't hide. The Warzone is forbidden for good reason. My people have records going back 5,000 years. Nothing that enters ever returns. What exactly is in there? Asked Science Officer Taemin. He was young for his position, only 35, but brilliant. His curiosity often got him into trouble. We don't know, Veltar admitted. The oldest records speak of lights in the darkness, then silence. Some say ancient guardians protect something valuable. Others believe it's a graveyard of ships from wars long forgotten. What matters is that it kills everything that goes near it. Captain Dong Hyun, who commanded the destroyer Busan's Fury, appeared on a side screen. His ship was part of the small human fleet exploring this sector. With respect, Ambassador, humans have a saying. The only way to learn about the unknown is to explore it. Veltar's 3 eyes widened. This isn't exploration, Captain. This is suicide. The Dominion Council has declared this region off-limits to all species. If you enter, we cannot help you. Hyunwoo studied the alien's face. Fear was written in every line, every nervous gesture. But fear could come from ignorance as easily as from real danger. Humans had learned this lesson many times throughout their history. Taemin, what are our sensors showing? Hyunwoo asked. The science officer checked his readings. Long-range scans are picking up unusual energy signatures. There's definitely something artificial in there, Admiral. The readings suggest massive structures, possibly ships or stations. Could be ruins, suggested Lieutenant Jae-sung from the tactical station. If there was a big battle here centuries ago, the wreckage might still be floating around. Or it could be active, Taemin added. Some of these energy patterns look too regular to be debris. They pulse like heartbeats. Veltar shook his head frantically. Please, Admiral. I've seen the records. The Corvani sent a fleet of 200 ships to investigate this region 800 years ago. They were our best vessels with our finest crews. None returned. Not a single message came back. What about other species? Asked Sojin. The Zephyrians lost 60 ships 400 years ago. The Crystalline Collective sent their most advanced scouts 2 centuries past. All vanished. Even the machine races avoid this place. When artificial intelligences refuse to go somewhere, you know it's dangerous. Yunwu walked to the view screen and placed his hand against the cool surface. Out there in the darkness between stars, something waited. Something that had destroyed fleets and silenced the bravest explorers in the galaxy. But humans were different. They had always been different. Sir, Yujin said quietly, I'm getting personal messages from some of the alien crew members. They're requesting transfer to other ships before we proceed. Grant their requests, Yunwu said. Anyone who wants to leave can take a shuttle to the Dominion station we passed yesterday. Within 2 hours, nearly half the non-human crew had departed. The Corvani engineer, the Zephyrian medical officer, even the tough Graxian Marines chose to leave rather than face whatever lurked in the war zone. Are you sure about this, Admiral? Asked Sojin. Maybe they know something we don't. Hyunwoo smiled. They do know something we don't. They know how to be afraid of the unknown. Humans never learned that lesson properly. Captain Dong-hyun's image reappeared. Admiral, we're ready to proceed. The Busan's Fury is at full readiness. Should we launch fighters? Not yet. Let's see what we're dealing with first. All ships maintain tight formation. Shields up, weapons ready, but don't fire unless fired upon. Sir, Taemin called out, his voice tight with excitement. I'm reading massive structures dead ahead. They're huge, Admiral. Some of them are the size of small moons. The fleet moved forward slowly, crossing the invisible line marked by the warning buoys. For a moment, nothing happened. The stars looked the same, space felt the same. Then Taemin's console erupted in warnings. Admiral, massive energy spike. Something's powering up. The view screen lit up as enormous shapes emerged from the darkness. They had been hiding, perfectly camouflaged against the black of space. Now they revealed themselves, and they were terrifying. The ships were unlike anything in any database. They stretched for kilometers, their hulls covered in weapon ports that glowed with building energy. Strange symbols marked their sides, written in no language any human had ever seen. Sir, whispered Yujin, I'm picking up automated signals. These aren't crewed ships. They're machines. More vessels appeared surrounding the small human fleet. Dozens of them, each one large enough to carry 1 million beings. Their weapons began to glow brighter, preparing to fire. All ships evasive maneuvers, Hyunwoo ordered. This is what we came to find. The ancient guardians had awakened, and they were not pleased with their visitors.